It's time for another edition of Ask AJ here on TarHeelIllustrated.com and Tar Heel Illustrated, our YouTube channel. This is THI publisher Andrew Jones, and this is part 2 of the UNC basketball edition of Ask AJ. We put a question out on the message board the other day. If you have some questions about UNC hoops for an Ask AJ edition, go ahead and let them roll. We got a ton of questions. We fielded 3 of them in part 1. We're going to hit on 3 more here right now in part 2. And just so you know, we are in the quarantine confines of the AJ home studio in my office. And if you hear some chomping noises, it's my 70-pound boxer who is going at it on like 7 treats trying to keep him quiet so we can complete this video. And of course, my esteemed helper, Kim Jones, my wife, will be asking the questions as we continue to change course here on THI. So Kim, lay away. First question.
From Tar Heel Mark, who joined THI in November of 2006, how much longer do you realistically see Roy coaching?
Realistically, he'll coach next season, and actually, I think he'll coach a while longer. He says, he gets asked this several times a year, and I tend to believe what he says, that's his actual, the way he looks at this, is that, you know, as long as he feels good, as long as he has his health and he feels good, like he's got the energy to do it, he's going to keep coaching. And I see no reason why he'll stop anytime soon unless there is a health issue, and I'm not aware of anything like that. So I would think 3 to 5 more years at least. You got to look at the way times are right now. The president's 73 and he's running for re-election. The final 4 candidates in the Democrat Party were all 70 or older. The final 2, right now, 77 and 78. Coach K is in his 70s. Jim Boeheim's even older. Guys are going strong now. 70 today is maybe what 58 was 20 years ago. And Roy has, as far as I can tell, he has his health. He exercises. He does his 45-minute walks every day. And he watches what he eats. He talks about that often, even though he likes to have his dessert. And I guess he says he gets his 45-minute walk in so he can have dessert at night. But Roy is sharp. He's as sharp as ever. He's as good a coach as he's ever been. And he's certainly got a lot of reason to continue coaching. He's got a loaded roster coming next year. He's hitting it hard for the class of 21 kids. And they've reached out to some 22s. So I don't see any reason why Roy Williams can't continue coaching as long as guys like Krzyzewski and Boeheim keep coaching. What's the next question?
From Carolina Blue 34, who joined THI in April of 2016. I know it's premature, but how do you feel Roy will tinker this team next year? Will it be mostly through the post, or perhaps it will incorporate many styles and elements given that he has a lot to work with?
If you guys want a good video, I should have Kim answer that question. I think he's going to. I think you answered it. He's going to have a lot at his disposal, and of course, this depends on how much the freshmen are ready to contribute. From my understanding, Daron Sharp in the post is going to be ready to play a lot of minutes and help out right away. They also believe, people also believe that Caleb Love will be able to step in and be a contributor. Now, it's dangerous to expect him to be Kobe White. It's dangerous to expect him to be Cole Anthony. He's going to be Caleb Love. He may have a different trajectory than those guys, and he's certainly not going to have experienced guys like Luke, Kenny, and Cam were around Kobe. But he's going to have more experience than Cole had this past year because he's going to have Leaky out there. He's going to have Armando Bacot. He's going to have Garrison Brooks, who'll be basically a 4-year starter out there. And, of course, Andrew Platek will be a senior who's played important minutes in the past. So he's going to enter into a better situation than Cole Anthony did last year, but maybe not as fortified what Kobe White entered into a couple years ago. So I expect Caleb Love and Daron Sharp to absolutely help out. And you've got a point and you've got the post. It depends on what the other guys can do. R.J. Davis, Walker Kessler, Puff Johnson. I think they're going to play to their strengths. And on paper, they should, or at least could have, the best front line in college basketball. Roy loves going through the post. He still believes that's the way to win basketball games. It's a proven concept over time, and it's not going to change next basketball season. So this team is going to pound it, and they're going to try to beat you inside. But they're going to have more elements on the perimeter, I think, that can beat teams out there. And because they should be so good up front, it'll give time for the perimeter to kind of figure things out over the course of time. But I think they're going to run. I think they're going to have a secondary break. I think they're going to post it down low, and they're going to be a better perimeter team from the shooting perspective and the slashing, creative, and finding guys that are open perspective. So I do believe balance will be ultimately the way UNC wins next year, but it will begin up front. Third question.
From Ned Coda, who joined THI in March of 2016. When healthy, who plays more, Davis or Harris?
That's R.J. Davis, the incoming freshman, or Anthony Harris, who will be a redshirt freshman next year because he played just 5 games this past year. A quick refresher for some who may not recall, Anthony Harris injured his knee in December of his senior year in high school, sat out the rest of the year, and actually missed the first several games for UNC this past season. His first action was in the loss at UVA in early December. Then he played pretty well. I mean, the Tar Heels were looking for some energy, and he gave them some energy. He did some nice things in the loss at Gonzaga. He played really well in the win over UCLA, played really well in the win over Yale, but that was the game in which he re-injured his knee and he was out for the season. So we at least got to see what he looks like in a Carolina environment. And he gave them energy. He was a bit of a slasher. He was aggressive. He was fearless. Don't yet know what kind of a shooter he is. Didn't really get enough intel on that. I think that might be an area of his game based on what limited action we saw that he certainly has to work on. But he's an energy guy. He's athletic. He can get after it defensively. And really, if you think about it, Tar Heels don't beat UCLA in Las Vegas without Jeremiah Francis and Anthony Harris playing the way they did. And UCLA ended up being one of the top couple teams in the Pac-12. So he's proven he could get it done at this level. He'll just have to get healthy and prove he can do it more. As far as R.J. Davis goes, big-time scorer from the New York area. I have not seen him in person, but I've been told by some people who've seen him to say he's got a little bit of Shammond Williams in him, but that's a down-the-road thing. To expect somebody to be what Shammond was as a junior and senior going into college would be unfair. But he also can be someone who can give them some electricity off the bench, give them a little bit of a scoring punch, a guy who can rotate the 1 and the 2, which they'll need. And also, Roy says he wants to play a lot of multiple guards together back there. Some of the kids on the recruiting trail have told us that. So I think that you'll see them both get on the court. You'll see them both provide some electricity and some energy. And you may see them out there together at times. I don't think there's going to be an either or. I think they're both going to be part of the equation. The really cool thing about Carolina's basketball team next year, and these two guys are an example of this, is that when Roy turns to his bench and he wants to make a substitution, he's going to have the options. This past season, there were so many times I saw Roy turn to the bench. You know he wanted to make a move, but he didn't have that option there, and he didn't make the move. Those options will be there next year, and Davis and Harris are going to be a big part of giving him those options. She's Kim Jones, my better half, for sure. I'm Andrew Jones. This is TarHeelIllustrated.com. You've been watching Ask AJ. Be sure to click like on this video and hit the bell so you can get notification on all of our videos, and we do a ton of stuff here at THI. Thanks for stopping by.